When the REIQ was formed by an erudite group of gentlemen in 1918, immediately after the Great War, Brisbane was still a large country town. Its population was about 200,000 and street lighting had just changed from gas to electricity. The most common construction for a family house was a corrugated iron roof and weatherboard siding. Almost every house had an outside toilet, which was often attended by a weekly pan service by men who truly earned their meagre wage. Despite all the doom and gloom during the Great Depression, the entrepreneurial developers south of Brisbane changed the name of the town of Elston to Surfers Paradise. That was in 1933. And in Brisbane, landmark buildings like City Hall and the Masonic Temple were being built. Construction of the Story Bridge was the city's biggest Depression-time project, and you could purchase a modest home for about £500. To protect the diggers from being exploited once they had left to protect the British Empire and to keep inflation in check, a system of rent and prices control was institutionalised, along with food and petrol rationing, just to name a few. In true Australian spirit, many REIQ members fought during the war, and some paid the ultimate sacrifice for their country. As soon as the war finished, the government also put a limit on the size of houses that could be built. You couldn't build one over 12.5 squares. The iconic post-war home was born. By the early 1950s, the price for an average 3-bedroom, tile-roof cottage in Brisbane was around £1,500, and the weekly basic wage was about £8. The region between Coolangatta and Southport was given its modern moniker when a journalist metaphorically referred to the area as the Gold Coast, perhaps in reference to the large amounts of cash flowing into the pockets of developers and others related to the industry. The term Sunshine Coast was also used by REIQ members in their advertising material, seemingly the first organisation to do so. In the 1960s, the REIQ finally got its first home. The premises, known imaginatively as Real Estate House, was a 2-storey commercial, not overly attractive dwelling at 94 Leichhardt Street in Brisbane City. It finally allowed the REIQ to live by its agent's philosophy of owning your own home. The basic wage was now sitting around £16 a week, and the average house price was about £15,000. 1971 was a big year for legislation, with the First Amendment to the Auctioneers, Real Estate Agents and Motor Dealers Act since it was introduced in 1922. The multiple listing service came to Queensland in 1972, and the REIQ would move into its second home at 88 Brunswick Street in the Valley. But the Australia Day floods in January 1974 devastated much of Brisbane and areas on the Gold and Sunshine coasts, impacting greatly on the industry. On the 1st of January 1986, commission rates were changed to their current settings and have not been altered since. In the 1980s, Australia also experienced the recession we had to have, with interest rates hitting record highs. But the year of the bicentennial was a highlight for Brisbane, when the South Bank precinct was transformed permanently with the building of the Expo 88 site. Many believe it was this event which saw Brisbane come of age and forever lose its large country town image. The registered office of the REIQ was now 21 Turbo Drive at Coorparoo, the third such home for the Institute. Multilist had spawned a new database computer system called RealNet, as everyone came to realise that computerisation was now a major force within the industry. By 1997, it had grown into Australia's largest property database, with about 22,000 listings and a potential worldwide audience of some 50 million. For the majority of the 2000s, times in Queensland were very good indeed. The market went through not one but two property booms in the first 8 years of the new millennium. The REIQ also launched its successful accredited agency system, which strengthened its brand and the value of REIQ membership to consumers everywhere. But, alas, the good times can't last forever. 2011 saw our state ravaged by natural disasters, but the REIQ and its members rallied to help those in need, and no doubt will do the same again this year. This year, of course, is our 95th anniversary. The REIQ is taking a lead role with the state government in legislation reviews which will change the way every real estate agent practices in Queensland. For the first 35 years of its operation, the Institute didn't have any paid employees, yet it grew through the efforts of hundreds of volunteers. In 2013, the complexity of the organisation means it has more than 60 committed, well-trained staff across the state, who all assist in driving the Institute forward. For the past 95 years, there's no doubt that the REIQ has been committed to professionalism and best practice, and that is a commitment that will continue in the years to come.